Hello and welcome to today's show where we're going to be talking about self-worth and self-value. Now, why should this matter to you? Well, if you want to make a difference, if you want to create success and abundance and happiness and bliss and joy in your life, in your business, if you want to be able to impact the lives of others, you need to value yourself. You need to hang on, my phone's got a bit wonky. Hang on a minute. Sorry, let's start again. Hi everyone and welcome. If you want to create a difference in your life and the lives of others, you need to be able to value yourself and see the worthiness in yourself, because otherwise, how are you going to be able to go out with confidence and with intention and with purpose and be able to significantly impact and make a difference in your life and the lives of others? So that's why it's really important. That's why I wanted to speak about it today. There's a quote that I love to use: once you value yourself, the whole world values you. Once you value yourself, the whole world values you. And when you can show up in a different way, when you're confident, when you value yourself, you see your own value, then other people start to recognize that in you, because you see it, they see you in a different way. So this is what I'm going to be speaking about today. And this is why it's so important to you as a business owner, as a founder, as a leader, to really know your worth, really know your value. So we're going live. I always love to have these sessions interactive, so please come in to the chat and say hello. Let me know where you're watching from, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay. It'd be really lovely to have a two-way conversation. If you've got any questions, please, if you are enjoying this video, then please like and subscribe to my channel. It's really important. I keep being told this by my team: get people to subscribe to your channel, because that's how we're going to grow it, and that's how we can extend our reach and share with more people about these important subjects. What else did I want to say to you? Oh, and also, yes, hi everyone that's joining. Also, if you want to find out more about human design, then you can go over to my website abigailrebecca.com, and over there you can download your free chart and find out all different things. Okay, so Farron, it's great to see you. Have I pronounced your name properly? But from Atlanta, it's great to see you. Right, okay, let's get into this. In terms of your worth and your value, the way that we value ourselves shapes every area of our business. So if you're in business or you're a leader, it shapes every single area of that. How you set your pricing, how you show up in the world, how you attract opportunities. And if you want to think about it in simple terms, the universe wants to give us everything. The universe wants to send everything to us, everything that our heart desires. But of course, very often we can not feel worthy of that, or not feel that we're valued enough to receive that, maybe through our business, through clients, through opportunities, through any kind of extension of our business, or any kind of part of our business that brings us those opportunities, or any part of our life. So we're blocking things. We are blocking the universe bringing in abundance into our lives when we have a very low sense of self-value, when we don't value ourselves. And I have conversations with women all the time about this. In fact, I was having a conversation yesterday with one of my clients, and we were like, why is it that as women, we can get to a really, really high level of success and still feel undervalued and still feel unseen? It feels like there's this wound that very often we can carry as women, that that gets us to feel like that, right? So we can feel not seen, not recognized, undervalued, especially as projectors. I mean, you know, sometimes I'll do video. I'm a projector in human design, so sometimes I'll do videos for projectors. This isn't a specific video for projectors, but I just want to call out the projectors that are watching here today. That, you know, very often if we don't feel seen, if we don't feel noticed, if we don't feel valued, then that can really impact our self-esteem. But, you know, that can impact the self-esteem of any human design type. So this is what I love about human design, because human design is one of the many incredible tools out there that can really help us to see ourselves and appreciate ourselves and value ourselves. So actually, we're not hanging our opinion of ourselves on the hats of other people. Actually, what we're doing is we're seeing and we're valuing ourselves. So actually, as we go out into the world, it doesn't really matter what people think of us, really, because we're like, yeah, like, I love myself, I respect myself, I see myself. So even though it's nice to have that recognition and that acknowledgement, actually, I do not need to have that validation from other people. And Keely, it's lovely to see you. So you're a projector, a 3-5 projector. So we want to be seen, right? As projectors, we want to be seen, we want to be noticed, we want to be recognized. But where it gets really difficult for projectors in particular is when that is the validation that we always are looking for, instead of the validation that comes from us. Because everything is within. Everything. We're constantly looking throughout our lives, and again, this is applicable to all human design types. We are constantly looking for external things, for external validation, for external recognition, for, you know, to get awards, to get qualifications, to feel better about ourselves, to get pats on the head, to be told, oh, you're such a good girl. It's such a good job that you're doing. Well done. Keep on going. Keep on going. And don't get me wrong, that does impact, you know, the neurosensors, if that's the right word, in the brain that like activate that sense of wellness and happiness. But actually we can do that for ourselves, because what we can do is we can tap in to our divine wisdom, and one of the ways that we can do that is through our human design. So I believe that human design helps us to understand our value, to really understand our value, because what it does is it helps us to stop comparing ourselves to other people. It stops us being jealous of other people. It stops us trying to be like other people. And instead, it helps us to appreciate who we are authentically. Not a mask that we're putting on, pretending to be someone else, pretending to be, you know, this person over there or that person over there. What we're doing is that we are bringing it down a notch, and we are bringing it inwards, and we are tapping into our innate wisdom that we carry and really valuing ourselves for that. And I'd love to know, actually, in the chat, who has an undefined or open heart? Farhan, my son is, so I take notes. So yes, that's good, actually, that you're coming on and taking notes for your son. I love it. And you're does that say HI? Tell me what human design you are. I'd love to know. I think we've spoken before, haven't we? Or you've definitely commented on my videos. I recognize your name, and I can't remember what human design you are, so I'd love to know. So who has an undefined or open heart? So if you don't know what that means, if you go over to my website, abigailrebecca.com, you can go and download your free chart. Okay, so brilliant. So go on to abigailrebecca.com, and you will see at the top, it will say look at charts. and you can put your birth details in there, and it will tell you, give you an overview of your body chart. Now, the heart center is the tiny little triangle that, as you're looking at the chart, just sits to the right hand side of your G center. So the G center, heretic investigator. Okay. So the G center is the center for direction, right? So it's the center of self. So it's self-direction, self-love. The heart center is very much attached to self-esteem and self-worth. 70% of the population have their heart center undefined or completely open. So when you are looking at your body chart, you will see that some of the centers are colored in. They might be colored a color, or they might just be gray, dependent on where you've downloaded it from. And some of the centers will be completely white. And if you're a reflector, all of the centers will be white. If you have an undefined heart or a completely open heart, so if your heart is not coloured in, if it's white, you make up 70% of the population. And there can be some inclination through the conditioning that we all have, being brought up in this society and, in a world that tells you that you need to be a certain way in order to be successful, or in order to be likable, or, in order to be friendly, in order to be a great leader. Very often we can carry this conditioning in our open and undefined centers. And from the heart center, from the undefined heart, it's very much attached to feelings of low self-esteem and low self-worth. Now, of course, this always depends on how far in this journey you are, how far in the human design experimentation you are, how much work you've done on yourself, in terms of your own consciousness and your own spiritual awakening. So you can meet this at different stages, but there can often be kind of like a bit of bravado that is carried in your undefined and open heart center. Like, hey, look at me, like you're trying to prove something. And I'd really love to know in the comments if you relate to that. I can certainly relate to it. I have an undefined heart. And before I started my human design experimentation and really started to implement it into my life and into my business, there was a very much an energy of bravado. Like, I had something to prove. All through my corporate career, I was like, yes, I need to prove myself. I need to prove my worth. I need to prove that I'm good enough. I need to prove that I can live up to people's expectations. I need to prove that I can work hard. That's one of the things that I was doing a lot, and that's why as a projector I completely burnt out in corporate. So I was having to prove things all of the time, and really the message, and the clear message from your open or undefined heart, is that you have nothing to prove. You have nothing to prove to yourself or to other people. So if you want to do like an audit of yourself and your life and how you show up with others in terms of proving your worth, and you find that you're saying yes to a lot of things, because if you say yes to things, then people will see you as reliable and capable and the person that can get the job done. And you're over promising and overworking and over delivering. Guess what happens? You're then seen as the person, I used to see this in corporate all the time. So-and-so will get it done because they can juggle work really easily, right? So then what you'll find is there's more and more things that are thrown at you before you're just completely overwhelmed. And then what happens? That really impacts your self-worth. So if you feel like, for example, if you're at a point in your business at the moment where you are taking on a lot of projects, or you're saying yes to a lot of requests from clients because you want to prove your worth to them. Maybe you've just raised your prices. So therefore, you feel that in order to be able to deliver to their expectations, you need to do everything for them because they're paying you so much money. Then you need to like prove your worth to them. Or maybe you're having conversations with people where they are, you know, asking you to do things, and then you just bear with me 1 minute. I'm going to bring my little dachshund onto the live. This is Rudy, for those of you who have never met him. He's also a projector. He's trying to get some sleep and someone's been very, very noisy outside. So he started barking. So I'm going to bring him onto the call with us. And he's part of the brand, aren't you? Yes, you are. So, you know, if you're having a conversation with someone and that person is trying to get you to do things like, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And you're like, yes, of course I can. Because you want to show, you want to prove your worth, you want to look good. This is completely ego driven, by the way. That is why the heart center is often known as the ego center, because it's about ego. It's like, yeah, I'll do that for you. And you know why you're saying that? Because you want to look good. Well, that is going to impact you and your self-worth and your value because you're not valuing yourself. You're not putting in boundaries around your time. If you are a non-sacral being, so if you're a projector, if you're a reflector, if you're a manifester, you are not, maybe by saying yes to everything, you're not giving yourself time to rest. So you are not managing your energy effectively. If you are a manifesting generator or a generator, then you might not be giving yourself the opportunity to respond to things and follow your inner authority. So for example, if your inner authority is emotional, then it's really important that you don't say yes in the moment or you don't say no in the moment. You need to be able to sleep on things and feel it through and feel all the different nuances of the emotional wave. So you saying yes to things at every opportunity and not putting in those boundaries will not only impact your health, they will also impact your self-esteem because you know that you don't want to be saying yes to all of these things. I'm working with a client at the moment who works with very, very high level clients herself. She's a very high level client for me. She works with very high level clients. You know, they want her time. They're paying her a lot of money and she is amazing, but they want her time. So she has to put in boundaries with her clients so they're not taking up her time all of the time, right? So her open and undefined heart very often wants to say yes to things, and she knows that if she does that, she's going to completely burn herself out. So this is a really important part of understanding your self-worth and your value, especially if you have an undefined or open heart. Fine, I started implementing my environment placement Valley, and it doesn't align. I usually say I can't. No, I started implementing my. I created a book for you, didn't I? I'm sure I did. Is that why we know each other? I do know you from somewhere. I love the celebrity profiles you've been doing. Thank you so much. That girl from yonder, what a lovely name for your YouTube. And hey Marcy, it's great to see you all the way from New Jersey. So we're talking about self-worth. So if you've just joined me today, we're talking about self-worth and self-value, and we're talking about the importance, why we need to value ourselves. This world needs empowered, purpose-driven, heart-centered, open-hearted and open-headed leaders, female leaders. This is what the world needs right now. If you don't value yourself, not only are you going to be stopping yourself from going out there and speaking your truth and standing for what you believe in and making a difference, you're also going to be blocking everything that the universe wants to send into you. So we've already spoken about the human design types. So, projectors, it's really important, obviously, for us to have recognition that really impacts our self-worth. But the recognition needs to come from within, not externally. Generators, what impacts your self-worth is whether you're feeling satisfied or not. Think about the times that you feel truly satisfied in life. You feel that sense of satisfaction. Everything's going well. You're having these amazing opportunities that are flowing to you. And this is obviously for, when I say generators, I mean manifesting generators as well. So all these opportunities are flowing to you and you're responding to them and you feel very satisfied. It's just wonderful. That is going to have an impact on your self-worth, because I bet in that moment your self-worth feels very, very high. Manifestors, when you are making an impact, this is when your self-worth will be high. When you're going out and you're lighting the fires and you're self-initiating, obviously you are following your strategy and you're informing before you do that, but that will bring you a very high level of peace and deep self-worth. I mean, I can't think of something that would bring you more self-worth actually than going and, creating movements, like saying to people, come on, come with me, and come on the journey, and then people following you. And then reflectors, you need that reflection. You need that time to reflect. You need to be in environments that inspire you and with people that inspire you. So for you, when you are in the right environment and you are giving yourself time to reflect before you make those really important business decisions, that is going to impact your self-worth. And guess what happens when you don't value yourself, when you don't think you're worthy of things? Self-worth does not match success. What happens when you don't value yourself, when you don't feel that you're worthy of things? You start overgiving because you haven't got barriers in place. You haven't got things in place to be able to say to people, you know what, I can't do that today. No, I can't do that. Or no, I'm not, I don't like the way that you speak to me in that way. Or I don't like the way that this is showing up. I don't like the environment that I'm in. I'm going to leave. Right? This is when you are putting in your boundaries for other people. But instead, you're overgiving, you're people pleasing, you're saying yes, yes, yes all the time. You're undercharging for your services, not valuing your time. This is a biggie. This is a real biggie, and something that I see a lot, especially in the industry that I'm in, whether you're coaching or you're mentoring. And again, I was having a conversation actually with a client yesterday, and we were talking about, like when you see people but will go out with a certain price for something that they're selling, like a course, for example, and then they drop the price. They drop the price. And for me, that is like, no, don't drop the price. Don't drop the price. Don't drop the price. If you aren't selling a product, look at the reason why you're not selling the product. It's nothing to do with the price. It's to do with your self-worth and your self-value, because they're not trusting you for some reason. So why? What don't you trust in yourself? This is about going in and self-reflection, going inwards and taking absolute responsibility for this. So please don't undercharge, because we need to be empowered as women. around money, because money gives us choices and choices give us freedom. It's so important, especially at the moment, that we have freedom. Or the other thing that we do when we're trying to prove our worth is working harder to prove ourselves. And, you know, I've given lots of examples about that today in the live. So what are some practical ways to really align your self-worth with your energy, to really vibrate at that highest level? So for projectors, it's success. For manifestors, it's peace. For reflectors, it's like wonderment in life, fascination and wonderment and awe of life. And for you amazing generators and manifesting generators, it's feeling satisfied. How can you align your self-worth with those higher vibrational frequencies within your energy? Well, you do it through resting. If you don't have sacral energy, to rest, to make sure that you're not working too hard, to recognize yourself, not just hanging your hat on the recognition from other people. Setting your boundaries, being very, very clear about this is what I do, this is what I don't do, especially for you, those of you who have got a line 5. Especially, who's got a line 5? Let me know in the chat. Especially for those of you with a line 5, because people will put unrealistic expectations on you. So you need to be the one that goes, whoa, hang on a minute, no. And you set your boundaries in advance. You say, this is what I do, this is what I don't do. This is how many hours I work. This is when I'm contactable. You know, if you are having these clients that are kind of like a little bit over eager and want you all of the time, then it's a case of putting those contracts and those agreements in place. So Lena, it's lovely to see you. Farin, it's lovely to you're line 5 as well. Okay, so with line 5, put those agreements in place. You can reach out to me at the weekend, but I'm not going to get back to you. It's perfectly fine to do that. You do not need to give your energy and overgive, because you're not valuing yourself. You're not valuing your energy. I just really quickly to give an example of this, I got into a call with someone the other day who I was actually interviewing her to be a speaker on an online summit that's going to be happening in March. And she came on and she hadn't done any research about the summit. She didn't know who else was speaking. She didn't know what the values were and the mission and the vision of the summit. And I said to her, I said, why? Like, you've just given an hour of your time. Why did you do that without really knowing what this was about? Your energy is precious. So if you're going to give up an hour of your time, you better work out like who you're hanging out with. You know, there's some weird people in this world at the moment that have got very a lot of opinions and a lot of things that are happening that are coming out of fear and coming out of scarcity and coming out of division. So you gotta know where you're spending your time. Know your value. Is this worth my time? Assess it. Honestly, it really does save you a lot of time in business if you assess things before. The more of a following you have, the more successful you are, the more visible you are, the more people that will be coming and wanting more of your time, and they'll be inviting you into things. So there has to come a time when you're like, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. That doesn't align with me. That's not the kind of thing that I want to do. And then you're valuing your time there. So what happens when you do have high levels of self-esteem and self-value, when you put all of those things in place? It increases your confidence. And that in return then increases your visibility. Because when you feel more confident, when you're more self-assured, when you can really trust yourself and really value yourself, you want to show up more. You want to be more visible. And if you're a business owner, especially if you're doing things online, then that means that you're going to be more visible on social media. You'll be more visible through your website. Maybe you'll do lives like this. Maybe you'll do webinars and Zoom calls and invite your community to come and listen to you as you're sharing your beautiful zone of genius with them. Or maybe it just means that you put on, a banging outfit and you go and walk down the street and you're confident. Automatically you get more visible. And then what happens when you are visible with an intention and visible authentically? And I just want to put a caveat about authentic visibility, because anyone can be visible. You can go out there and you can be visible, but actually when you are visible without the mask, when you're visible in your flow as your human design, then people want to be in your presence. And if you are running a business, then that impacts your financial flow. You start to attract more opportunities, more clients, investors, people that want you to speak on stages or write articles or to collaborate on projects together. Automatically you start to bring these wonderful opportunities into your life. So I'm glad that it's relating to you, and it's just so lovely to see you in the chat. This is why I've started to do the lives again, because I just really love to have this as a two-way conversation and just to see what your aha moments are. Like a clear quartz authentic. Yeah, absolutely. So the way that I just want to close today is really to invite you in to do some self-reflection. After you've watched this video, what does authentic self-worth feel like to you? When you are really feeling that you value yourself, and you're bringing that confidence to the table, and you're vibrating at that higher level within your human design frequency, what does it feel like? What does it feel like in your body? Like, what does it feel like in yourself? And what does it feel like in your business? Well, I can say from personally as a projector, for me, it feels like I am complete flow. Like, it feels like I am channeling the light from the universe with no resistance. I am allowing the universe to channel light through me as a vessel. There are things that need to be done and things that need to be created, and it just feels so beautiful and natural and organic. And guess what? It feels so easy. That's what it feels like for me. And in my business, how does it show up? Well, it shows up. I mean, I've been on this call today and I've been on this video today and I've got my phone and it's holding next to me, and there's notifications that are pinging up to say that people are paying me, that clients are paying me, or people are booking human design readings with me, or people are ordering books from me. So I can see it physically manifest in my business. And my biggest wish is that you will also see that physically manifesting in your business. So thank you so much for coming and joining me today. I know it was a little bit chaotic at the beginning. I came on and I completely lost my train of thought, and then Rudy started to bark, but he's asleep now on my lap, which is what normally happens. Thank you so much for watching, for joining in, sending you lots and lots of love, and I will see you on the next live next week. Bye everyone, take care, bye.